Shalom, my friends. Rosh Chodesh Tov U'Mvorach. Today is the second day of Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet, the second day of the second Adar, the month of Adar, which is the month that is most joyous of all the months of the Jewish calendar. As our sages said, Mishenichnas Adar Marbim Besimcha. When the month of Adar begins, we increase our amount of joy. We already discussed this thought in the past, but what I would like to add now is to wish the people of Israel to be happy, that may happiness and joy enter the houses and the hearts of each and every Jew, of all the people of Israel wherever they are. And Shabbat tonight, today is Friday, and tonight is Shabbat, and this Shabbat we read the Parashat of Pekudei. The theme of Parashat Pekudei is, as the first verse says, I quote, Ele Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan HaEdut, Asher Pukad Al Pi Moshe, Avodat Alviyim, etc. These are the accountings of the Mishkan. What is the Mishkan? That the tabernacle it's known as the Mishkan of the testimony, which means Moses presented all the details about the contributions of the Jewish people at that time, which were to serve the building of the Mishkan, in which God is going to rest His divine presence. And through it, the divine presence will rest in the hearts of the Jewish people. Right? So it says, Ele Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan HaEdut. These are the accountings of the Mishkan of testimony. Right? We shall discuss those things. Now, Moshe is presenting the list of all the collections of the contributions, which means Moshe is, as we call in Hebrew, Gabayet Tzedakah. He's the collector of the charity. Now, why does he have to present the accountings? Don't we believe Moshe? I mean, Moshe is the most trustworthy person that we have in the history of the Jewish people. That the Torah says very clearly, that God Himself says, Bechol betin emanhu, regarding Moshe, that he is the most trustworthy person in all my house, God says. The house of God means in all the world. So why does he need to present the list of all the contributors? Don't we believe him? Of course, the answer is we do. Of course, we believe Moshe. Nevertheless, it is advisable to do what Moshe has done. It says in the Yoreh De'ah, in Shulchan Aruch, that's the Jewish code. And there it says in Yoreh De'ah, in chapter Resh Nun Zayin, 257. We find there on the right side of the page the halachic decision by the Bah. Bah is Bet Het, that's Bayit Chadash, written by a very great genius of halakha about 300 years ago by Rabbi Sarkis. And he writes that even though we don't have to go after all the collectors of charity who are known for their integrity, and these people are kosher, and if they are kosher, there is no need to go and extract from them proofs for all the charity collections that they had. But nevertheless, it is advisable for those collectors of tzedakah, of charity, to present everything. Why should they have anyone suspect their deeds? How do we learn this? That nevertheless it is advisable for the Gabayet Tzedakah to present everything that they collect. We learn it from Moshe. That Moshe himself, although he was very honest and his integrity was beyond discussion, beyond any doubt, nevertheless, he was eager to present everything that he collected, so that to avoid the possibility of anybody suspecting anything. There are always bad people who like to find something to say about the great people, right? So we know one thing that he presented, and that one thing is very important to know, that the Jewish people contributed for the building of the Mishkan. All of them, all of them without exception, contributed to that. They contributed gold, silver, zahav, chesef, unechoshet, tchelet ve'argaman, ve'tolaat shani, and so forth, as we find in Parashat Teruma, and as we can read also in Parashat Pekudei. The Midrash Rabbah says that everyone contributed without exception except one, Moshe himself. Moshe, who bothered so much, worked so hard for the building of the Mishkan, and who collected all the monies and all the goodies for that purpose, he is the only one who did not contribute as far as money or gold or anything. Maybe he was not rich, he was the richest man there. So why didn't he contribute? And he could be sure that there are some people who would say, how come? The rabbi himself is the one who gave the speech about collecting the monies for charity, but he is the only one who did not give anything. That's a bad taste, right? So how come Moshe allowed that to happen? I would like to offer an explanation that I found in the book of Doresh Tzion, written by a famed rabbi of today, Rabbi Ben Zion Mutzafi. The reason why I prefer to bring an explanation from his commentaries is because only last week we became family. Last week we had the wedding of my grandson Gabriel Toledano, who married his bride Malka, who is the granddaughter of Rabbi Mutzafi, as Gabriel is my grandson. So in honor of Rabbi Mutzafi, I would like to offer this explanation. Rabbi Mutzafi says that the reason why Moshe did not contribute anything, even though it caused him tremendous trouble in his heart, as the Midrash says. The Midrash says that Moshe was very sad that he is the only one who did not contribute anything to the Mishkan. So the rabbi says, you want to know why he did not? And this explanation will prove again the love of Moshe that he had for the Jewish people, for Am Israel. That he is willing always to sacrifice himself, as he was, in order to get the forgiveness of Hashem for the Jewish people after the great sin of the golden calf, in which we remember in Parashat Tetzaveh, God was willing to practically destroy the Jewish people for this sin, if it was not for the prayer of Moshe, who prayed with all his heart, and he even sacrificed himself, and he said, if you destroy the Jewish people, then you might as well erase my name from your book, Meheni Nam Sifrecha Asher Katavta, for which we remember we said that the name of Moshe does not appear in all the parasha of Parashat Tetzaveh. So we see that Moshe is willing to sacrifice himself. That's what he did now also. Moshe knew that if Moshe had contributed to the building of the Mishkan would never be destroyed. And we know that the Mishkan was destroyed We know that after that, the first Bet HaMikdash, which was built by King Solomon, was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. And we know also the second Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. And they would not have been destroyed if Moshe would have contributed. Well, in that case, that's great. Then why didn't Moshe contribute to avoid the possibility of destruction for these great edifices of the Jewish people? The answer is that if Bet HaMikdash, if the tabernacle would not have been destroyed, it would be at the detriment of the Jewish people. The Jewish people would have been destroyed. And they would have stopped, they would have come to the end of their existence. Why? Because our sages said that the reason God destroyed Bet HaMikdash, because He spent His anger on stones and buildings rather than to spend His anger on the Jewish people. Which means Bet HaMikdash was instead of the Jewish people. That's why He destroyed both Mikdashim and the Mishkan, to avoid the destruction of the Jewish people. Moshe knew that, and he said, if I contribute to the Mishkan would not be destroyed, Bet HaMikdash would never be destroyed. In that case, then who would be destroyed? The Jewish people. Oh no, we prefer to lose Bet HaMikdash than to lose the people of Israel. And that's why the Jewish people is still in existence even today, despite generations and 2,000 years of massacres and destructions, and yet the world was not able to destroy us. Why? Because God has spent His anger for the sins of Israel, we admit. But at the same time, Hashem, let us continue to represent Hashem in the world, even though we lost Bet HaMikdash and the Mishkan and everything. So Moshe sacrificed his good reputation. Let people talk if they want to talk. But for me, the Jewish people is more important than anything. That's why I will not contribute. This, by the way, teaches us that sometimes great rabbis of the generations, sometimes they made some decisions, some kind of decisions that most of people did not understand. That people were very perplexed when it comes to understanding this kind of decisions. How come the great rabbi decided that or that when he could have said something better? Should we always doubt maybe the decisions of the great rabbis? No, chas v'shalom. We should trust that what they do has a definite, maybe secret, but a definite reason in their hearts. Like Moshe, for example. People did not understand why he did not contribute, but he did it for the sake of the Jewish people. Same thing also with many decisions that were made by the great poskim of the generations, that sometimes they were not to please the people at large, but they were necessary for things that only they knew the reason that's behind this decision. I'll give you a story about the Chafetz Chaim alav hashalom. The Chafetz Chaim alav hashalom was known for his integrity and his righteousness, no question about it. He was aware of the fact that a Jew, a good Jew, a man of charity and honesty, but his business was a problem. He sold bad books. That was his business, pornography and everything. And that was his parnasa, as we say. One day the Chafetz Chaim came to tell him, please, you have to change your profession. You have to change your way of making a living. And the man said, Rabbi, I do my best. I give charity and everything, but this is my livelihood. What can I do? So the rabbi said to him, the Chafetz Chaim alav hashalom said to him, I'll find you another job. Okay. After a few days, the rabbi came back and he said, I found you a good job. from now on, you will be working in a church. In a church? What am I supposed to do? He says you will be the one to ring the bell, the big bell that calls upon all the faithful to come and pray in the church. So you will be the one to pull the big rope with the bell, and this way, and that's how you will make your parnasa, you will make your livelihood. The man was astonished. Rabbi, you offer me such a job to work in a church, the house of idol worshipping, Avodah Zarah? How can you? The Chafetz Chaim said to him, my friend, by working the way, with your old job, you are selling books that are destroying the souls of the children of Israel. But in this new job, all you will be doing is calling the non-Jews to come and pray in the church. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. So what do you prefer, to destroy the souls of the children of Israel or to work in a church? The man finally understood. So you see, here is one example, for example, that sometimes we don't understand what goes on in the heart of the great man, of a great rabbi. But it is our obligation not to doubt, to accept, even though sometimes we don't understand their decisions. And there are many stories about this. And with that, I would like to repeat again and say Rosh Chodesh Tov, Sameach, Happy Rosh Chodesh, and Shabbat Shalom.